In the far north, where the fjords meet the endless sky and the cold winds howl through the long nights, lived a humble Viking farmer named Torbjörn, known to his family as Tor. He and his wife, Astrid, along with their 3 children, lived in a modest homestead nestled in a valley, surrounded by dense forests and towering mountains. Life had always been hard for Tor. While other warriors sailed across the seas in search of plunder and glory, Tor remained home, tending to his land and providing for his family. The harvests were meager, the winters harsh, and their wealth scarce. Despite this, they found joy in their simple life, bound by love and the ancient traditions of their ancestors. They would gather around the fire at night, sharing stories of the gods, and celebrating the turning of the seasons with feasts and songs. One day, as the frost bit through the land and Tor's hope began to wane, a mysterious old Cirrus, a Volva, appeared at his door. Her eyes gleamed with the knowledge of the world beyond, and she claimed to carry the whispers of the gods. "The gods have seen your toil, Tor," she said, her voice a raspy whisper, "and they offer you a choice. Riches beyond your wildest dreams, or the burden of an empty hearth." Tor's heart leapt at the offer. Gold, silver, and wealth would mean his family would never struggle again. He imagined fine furs, a longship, and being revered as a jarl among men. His mind clouded with thoughts of glory, but the Cirrus's next words brought a chill to his bones. "But remember, Thor's son," she warned, her voice cold as the northern wind, "the gods do not give without taking. There is always a price to pay." Desperate and blinded by the promise of wealth, Tor agreed, sealing his fate with a nod. The Volva handed him a small rune-marked pouch filled with coins as gold as the sun. "This is only the beginning," she said. "More will come to you in time, but beware. The gods are watching." As Tor returned home, clutching the pouch, his heart raced. He revealed the coins to Astrid and their children. They were amazed, eyes wide with disbelief. "Is this true, Tor?" Astrid asked, holding one of the golden coins, its surface glimmering in the firelight. "Aye, the gods have blessed us," Tor replied, embracing his family tightly. "Our days of hunger and hardship are over." The following days saw their life transformed. Their simple homestead was soon filled with treasures, gold goblets, furs, and weapons of the finest make. They feasted more often, laughter ringing through their hall as they invited neighbors and friends to share in their newfound fortune. Word of Tor's wealth spread like wildfire through the fjords. His neighbors, once dismissive of his quiet life, now flocked to his side, praising his fortune and offering friendship they had long withheld. But despite the wealth, Astrid felt uneasy. The riches were as cold as the wind that swept the land. She could not shake the feeling that something dark lay beneath it all. "How did this happen so quickly?" she asked Tor one evening, as they sat by the hearth in their newly adorned hall, the fire casting flickering shadows on the walls. "The gods have rewarded us," Tor reassured her, though a knot twisted in his stomach. "They have seen my struggle, and they have provided." But even as he said the words, a shadow lingered in his heart. He knew the gods were fickle, and he feared what they might demand in return. As the weeks turned into months, Tor's wealth continued to grow. His farm expanded, and his cattle multiplied, but with each passing day, Tor became more distant. The golden coins, which once sparkled with promise, began to feel like chains binding him to his greed. His friends, once distant and uncaring, now surrounded him with praise, seeking to learn the secret of his fortune. "How have you achieved such wealth, Tor?" asked Ragnar, an old comrade, his eyes glinting with envy. "What deal did you strike with the gods?" Tor, fearing the truth, deflected their questions with tales of hard work and divine favor. But the suspicion in their eyes grew, and soon whispers spread through the village. Some said Tor had found a hidden treasure. Others claimed he had made a dark pact with the old gods, the ones who demanded blood in exchange for riches. It was during one of these feasts that Tor's life began to unravel. As he sat at the high table, surrounded by friends and feasting on roasted meats and honeyed cakes, a drunken warrior stood up and pointed at him, shouting, "What price have you paid for your fortune, Torbjörn? What have you given to the gods?" Laughter erupted, but it felt like a blade slicing through Tor's heart. He could feel the weight of their gazes, a heavy reminder of the darkness that lurked behind his success. That night, as he lay beside Astrid, he found no solace in her warmth. His mind was clouded with dread, and he could not shake the feeling that the gods were coming for him. On a cold night, When the moon hung low and the auroras danced in the sky, a messenger arrived at his door, a raven-feathered woman who spoke in riddles. "The gods demand their due, Tor," she said, her voice echoing through the hall like a death knell. "It is time to fulfill your bargain." Torbjörn's heart sank. "What must I do?" he asked, though he feared the answer. "The gods demand a sacrifice," the raven woman croaked. "Your eldest daughter, Era, must be given to them, or they will take her themselves, and all that you cherish will be lost." Tor's blood ran cold. Era, his beloved daughter, was the light of their home, the one who sang songs of the gods by the hearth and danced in the meadows. How could he sacrifice her? The thought of losing her shattered his heart into a million pieces. Yet, the fear of losing everything, his wealth, his sanity, gnawed at him like a hungry wolf. 4 days, Tor wrestled with his conscience. He could not bear the thought of losing Era, but the thought of losing all else drove him to the edge of madness. Astrid, sensing his torment, tried to comfort him, but he could not bring himself to tell her of the dark demand. Instead, he immersed himself in work, tending to the fields as if he could bury his dread beneath the soil. On the 6th night, when the shadows grew long and the air crackled with tension, Tor made his decision. Under the cover of darkness, he took Era by the hand, telling her they were going to honor the gods. "Father, I trust you," she said, her innocent eyes reflecting the moonlight, unaware of the fate that awaited her. They journeyed deep into the forest, where an ancient stone altar lay hidden beneath the roots of an old oak tree, twisted and gnarled with age. The air grew heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth as Tor prepared the ritual, his hands trembling. He mixed the potion, as instructed, and placed the ceremonial knife beside him. His heart broke with each passing moment, every heartbeat a reminder of the terrible choice he had made. As he raised the knife, ready to commit the unthinkable, a piercing cry shattered the stillness of the night. No. It was Astrid. She had followed them, her heart full of fear and suspicion. "Torbjörn, what are you doing?" she screamed, rushing toward them. The villagers, awakened by her cries, followed with torches in hand, their faces etched with concern. In a moment of clarity, Tor dropped the knife, collapsing in tears. The villagers restrained him as Astrid rushed to Era's side, holding her daughter close, her own tears mingling with the dirt beneath them. Torbjörn was brought before the village jarl, who judged him harshly but spared his life. "You were deceived by greed, Tor," the jarl said, his voice stern yet compassionate. "You nearly lost what is most precious. For your crime, you will spend the rest of your life atoning." Banished from his village, Tor was left to wander the cold, unforgiving wilderness. His name became a cautionary tale, told by the fireside on long winter nights, a warning to those who sought wealth without regard for the cost. In his exile, Tor wandered the mountains and valleys, his heart heavy with guilt and sorrow. He foraged for food, hunted for survival, and spent his nights under the stars, whispering apologies to the gods he had angered. He came to understand the true meaning of sacrifice, not in the blood of his child but in the love he had taken for granted. As the seasons changed, Tor found solace in the beauty of nature around him. He learned to live simply, finding joy in the sight of the auroras dancing across the sky and the songs of the birds at dawn. With every sunrise, he resolved to honor his family's memory and their teachings, vowing never to let greed cloud his heart again. After many moons, the village jarl, seeing the toll exile had taken on Tor, sent word that he could return home. The people welcomed him back, not as a wealthy man, but as a humble farmer. Though he had lost everything material, he had gained wisdom. In time, Tor's heart healed. He rebuilt his life from the ashes of his past, dedicating his days to helping others, sharing the story of his downfall to teach the next generation about the true value of life, love, and family.